Let's kick it off with the Bobby and the show about Nintendo and running it.
Now, cue the music, maestro.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of If We Ran Nintendo. And Sean right now is doing the thing he does where he's mimicking me, and he's trying to throw me off my game. But it's not going to happen tonight because I'm just going to look at myself rather than him. So tonight is If We Ran Nintendo, episode number 12, yet again. I am joined by my good friend from the great white north, Mr. Capri. What is up?
See, the thing is, like, if you were actually to do it to me, I wouldn't even be able to get what you did. But I was right with you. My cadence is right. It's because I listened to you on this show. We have a nice rapport, I think, going. Even though we've never met in person, I feel a special bond to you.
Yes.
But I listened to all of your content, so I know exactly what you're going to say before even you know what you're.
It's funny because I remember when we started this show, and I was like, episode 0. And I was like,
I remember it well.
I think I'm going to do something different. And you're like, really? You sure you want to do that? You sure you want to? You're like, don't you want to just keep it all the same? It's kind of your thing. I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? And that's why it sounds the same. It's Sean's
Maybe right now we'll change it. You can start it by saying just getting rid of just throw out all of your catchphrases. You can just start out by saying, "In my heart of hearts." That's what we should name the show. We gotta change it. We gotta change it from If We Ran Nintendo to In My Heart of Hearts with Bobby Paul.
We can start a new podcast with you, me, and Justin Masson, since I already screwed him out of a podcast with me. So
we'll just do one podcast per year to be a Valentine's Day podcast that we do once a year. Every Valentine's Day is called In My Heart of Hearts.
You know what? That's a great idea.
You can just read terrible love poetry.
Yeah. That's
love haikus is my preference. You guys know how much
I know how you love haikus. Mm-hmm. So
it's a lost art. It's a lost art.
So how are you? It's been a week. We haven't talked in a week. What's up?
I know. I miss you. I'm in a weird kind of great mood. I don't know where this energy is coming from. I'm ridiculously busy. Summer is upon us here in Canada, and so with that just seems to come weddings and birthdays and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just glad to be talking about Nintendo. I know you've been playing a game I want to ask you about.
Yes, but before we get into that, I want to
real quick. All right. I don't want to jump your sketch. See, I don't. No,
that's fine.
I'm not rude. I'm not going to force that on us.
We'll jump into it. You're right.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to ruin it. It's a teaser. Now everybody's like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah. All right,
I told you I was going to get a boost from this non-caffeinated diet A&W root beer.
So we'll make them wait. So I just want to go over some shout-outs real quick, if that's okay.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
And, so
shout out to Daniel Crowder. I'm giving that one.
Yes. Yeah, Danielle Crowder. What is up, Danielle? Heather Ward. So Heather, her Twitter handle is @head_ACH_24. Her son has a YouTube channel called Legendary Rider 24. So I want to tell everybody right now to go over to his YouTube channel. Subscribe if you can subscribe, if you're willing to subscribe to the channel.
I don't have a rewind button. Can you give that to me one more time?
The name is Legendary Rider 24. So he did a Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. And he told his mom that he really hoped that it could get to 100 views. He wants that video to get to 100 views. He's sitting at 80. When I just posted on Twitter and asked people to go check it out. It was 84. I'm sure he's higher than that already at this point now. I hope anyway. I hope the people are doing it. So I would encourage anybody that's listening to this right now, go check it out. Check out the little guy and give him some love, and all that. So that's the first one. Next one is PK Ben. And he's
What's up, PK?
He's at PK Ben. He has a YouTube channel as well called PK Ben. Good dude. Does some good content. Younger guy. I think he's 19, 20, somewhere in that age. But good guy. I like him a lot. The Unboxers, really cool people. They're at the _unboxers.
Great name.
But they're awesome. That's all they do is unbox stuff. It's awesome. I love them. So check out their YouTube channel as well. I want to give a shout out to a good friend of yours, but
yes, I know where you're
recently has become. I would like to consider him a friend. I hope that he considers me a friend. I like him a lot. Josh Stapleton.
Josh, I was gonna say this is what Bobby does before you even know it. Bobby is like, I'm your best friend.
Yes.
And it's like, what is this guy? Who are you? Like, what are you doing here? Okay, I guess we're friends. I have time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So
what's up, Josh?
Listen, the guy is awesome. He really is.
He might be the best person on the internet.
I think he is. I think
that's it.
Right
I quit this podcast. I'm doing a podcast with Josh.
I don't blame you. And maybe you'll get it out on time. That's what I would hope. That one was for you, Josh. That one was for you, my man. I had to do that. I was waiting for him to just. I was like a cat in the high grass, and I was just waiting to pounce, and I hit him. So.
See, I'm boxing like Rocky right now. I'm like, just hit me. I got my fist by my hips and everything. You're like, boom. That was good for you.
Clubber Lang special right there.
I won't even say that instead of recording and like posting my podcast right now on Monday night, like I said I was going to, I'm doing this show, but whatever. I won't say that.
Hey, this is a scheduled thing. Don't throw it on me. Don't throw it on me.
Yeah, right. I shouldn't have said anything.
Exactly. So, and then the last one I wanted to give a shout out to is Jonathan Brown. He's at Purple M13 on Twitter. Just did his first custom. Did a custom amiibo.
Sweet.
He did paper Toad, and it's cool looking. I like it. I think it's good. It's his first one, and he put it out there yesterday. He tweeted it to me and a bunch of other customizers he sent it to and stuff. And I was like, dude, I give you mad respect. Because you went out and you put it, you put yourself out there and you try to do something. I love it.
How do we find him again?
Twitter. He's at Purple M13.
Feel like there's a mix of like Reservoir Dogs happening here, where he's like Mr. Brown, but he's Mr. Purple all at the same time. Classic movie. God, man, I'm old. I'm talking about Reservoir Dogs. Nobody's talking about.
You almost sound like you're older than me, but you're not, and that's fine.
I'm old at heart. I'm only as old as I feel, Bobby.
Exactly. So let's jump into this game I've been playing that you want to ask me about.
Okay.
I plan on doing a review on it, so I don't want to go too deep with it.
Is it a buy it or skip it?
If I was you, I'd buy it.
Okay, so the game we're talking about is, of course, Mirage Tokyo Sessions.
I got it now. I have it down now. Tokyo Mirage Session and a Sharp FE. So anyway, basically to give you some preference, I've never played a Persona game. I've never played a Shin Megami Tensei game. None of that stuff. I can't believe I got that name right, but whatever.
You didn't get preference right.
What's that?
You're saying I'm going to give you some preference, but you're trying to like preface something. You're trying to introduce something. You always say I'm going to give you some preference. And I always think you're going to do me like some sexual favor or something. Before I tell you about this game, let me give you some of my preference.
My preferences. I say that because it's like prefix. Like
yes, that's what I know what you're trying to say. I love you, buddy.
Whatever.
Tell me about this game. I got to buy it. It's on my birthday list.
You got to get it. You got to get it. You know what? I kicked myself because at the 11th hour, I canceled my special edition from Amazon. Because I was like, you know what? I really don't want this game. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to mess with it. So I backed out of the exclusive, the special edition, which is fine. No big deal. And then I saw my buddy Frank Clark, and he was like, this game is awesome. I love it. And then I started reading the reviews, and the reviews are coming in, and they're coming in pretty high for it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out. So I bought it. I'm going to say this. First hour of the game, awesome. Like an hour, I was an hour and 15 minutes in. I loved it. I was like, this is great. The second hour, give or take, second 2 hours, real slow.
Yep. Very
slow. But then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're off and running, and it's good. And now I'm starting to get the mechanics down because, and let me explain. When I say real slow, there's no fighting going on. Mm-hmm. There's nothing going on, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, this is a role playing game. Why am I not fighting? Why am I not doing anything? And it was nonsense. But that
was Persona 4 too. Persona 4 is the only one of these games that I've played, and I was like, texting people like, you told me that I would really like this game. Like, I have done nothing. I'm just tapping, and it's just going through the motions, and it took probably 3 hours, I think, before I really got into Persona.
That's about what this is. Honestly, it's about what this is. The one thing that I will say that I love what they did, the integration of the gamepad.
Okay.
So the gamepad becomes your cell phone, and you get text
from the 1980s.
Yeah, no, but you get text messages. No, it's not like that. It's like you'll get text messages from the other characters while you're playing. You feel the thing vibrate, and you look down, and you have a text message.
I love it.
And you click it, and you can actually. There's times as you're clicking through, like some of it's like just standard responses for you, but occasionally it'll be like, do you want to give this response or that response? And you pick and choose what you want to respond to them. Mm-hmm. So I like it. I'm so far I haven't hit a lot of J-pop stuff, so I can't really get into that aspect of it.
Once it does, you're going to be singing in the shower. You're going to be like, believe in yourself.
It's not like that because it's not English, so I can't understand what the heck they're saying. So it's fine.
What did you think I was going to do there? Just pull out some Japanese song out of
me? I don't know what you're going to do.
For next week, I have to learn. Wait, we need to put something online here. We need to get like some reviews or some comments or something. I need some sort of encouragement to learn a Japanese song from Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and I will sing a quick little verse. I'll do a little. How many
reviews do you want of this show? 2?
See, I feel like we've given that, like, how many shout outs do we give today? Josh could give us like 3. Josh Stapleton, like, just go create like 3 Apple.
So if we have 5-star ratings by next week, Sean will sing J-pop to you guys.
I mean, look at this guitar. I could even play something on the guitar here. But I'm not going to because I haven't had a review come in for this. So we'll see. We'll see if people come through for us.
Okay. So
I don't want to hear that, though.
I would tell people to buy it.
Okay. I will buy it.
That's what I'm going to leave it at for now.
You can buy it for my birthday and send it up here.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have a review up. I would probably have it up next week. If I'm being honest, because I got to get time.
You got to finish it.
Well, I feel
it's going to be like 90 hours, man.
I know that's the problem. I feel like a game that long, you don't necessarily have to finish it. I want to put at least 50 hours in. I feel like if I put 50 hours in, I can give an honest review on it.
See, that's what I put into Pac-Man 256. I had to put at least 45 hours into that game before I reviewed it.
Stop it! You did not. You got it this weekend. The review is done already. Stop.
Yeah, the review took at least 60 hours of writing, just pure concentration.
Okay.
I put a comma in, I thought about it, and then I took that comma out. That's writing, folks. It's not glamorous. It's gritty.
Yeah.
But I mean, not everything can be as great as podcasting here.
This is true.
What are we doing here, Bobby?
So
what's going on? It's getting late.
If we ran Nintendo,
okay,
how would we handle the virtual console and retro games?
Right.
Now, this comes from this. I'm sure you know that this topic is coming from you, pretty much.
Yes.
Because you've been complaining a lot on the Twitter lately, and I've been seeing it, and I'm getting a little frustrated with you.
Okay.
So I want to address your issues and let you voice your issues.
Address this, you basically just want to tell me to shut up.
No, that's not the case.
Just deal with it. Your hashtag deal with it with me today.
Pretty much, probably. But I also want to say
followers on Twitter.
But I also want to say
I love you, Bobby.
I love you too. That I have an idea that I've been waiting to spring on you for a while now.
Oh,
but I couldn't because I didn't have to get it into this. I didn't know how to get this topic in front of us to bring it up.
Oh my god!
So I've been holding on to this for 4 weeks.
What do you have? 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a while. I had this brainstorm come to me a while ago, and I was like, I need to drop this on Sean and see what he thinks about it. So, but let's start off with your stuff. So we're sitting here.
Yeah.
And your main issue is that you're frustrated with buying Super Mario Brothers 3 for the 15th time.
As an example, yes.
Yes.
Mario Kart, any of them, yes. Some of the bigger purchased many times. I'm done, Bobby. I'm done. That's it.
And you want it to be tied to your account.
I do. Let me see here. There's a good example that's right in my hand. Let's see here. There's a game called Punch Quest sitting right next to a game called Super Stickman Golf 2. It's on my iPhone. I've had these games for probably 5 years, 3 iPhones ago. I just want that.
Okay.
That's it.
But they're not good games.
They're great games. Punch Quest, are you kidding me?
Stop.
No,
Stop.
you realize what you've done?
Do you realize what you've done?
I
Stop.
need to. I have to take the sound mute off. We're getting a little of this action. This game is awesome.
That is not Super Mario Bros. 3 quality game. So save it.
It actually looks like Donkey Kong at the start. Like he's just sitting in a hammock, hit by some fruit, and then he gets all upset, and he's just gonna go on a punch quest.
That's. You're making me think you're filthy casual with that kind of.
He's like Kevin Bacon in that movie about dancing, where he's not allowed to dance, and the only way to deal with it is to punch quest his way to greatness.
Okay, so
these are great games. That's what I want on my Nintendo.
They're not great games. Stop. Okay, let's not talk crazy. All right, we have the greatest games known to man when we talk about Nintendo.
Sure.
So I get why Nintendo does what they do. I think, look, let's be honest. It's not. Apple.
I'm listening. I'm just at
I'm trying to get the wording proper. Is what it is. I think that Apple just doesn't care. Like they're just telling the developers, if you want to develop a product for us, you're going to make it work across all platforms. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, it's amazing how not profitable that is for anybody too.
Well, I don't think it is profitable.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, over the long haul, you're looking at a different situation where.
I see where you're going with that too. That's actually an excellent point. As soon as I said it, it does make things tougher for the vast majority of people making games. I get that.
But at the end of the day, it's not like, let's be honest, it's not like an iPhone 4 and an iPhone 5 are that drastically different. It's not like a 4 and a 6 are that drastically different.
Right. Like they all run off the same operating system, more or less. The iterations of the same.
The only thing they're doing is upgrading power and things like that.
Sure.
So I get why it works across the board. An iPad is the same as an iPhone. It's no difference. It's just 9 times out of 10 it's running on the same exact technology. It might be a little bit more amped up than the phone, but it's pretty much the same stuff. When you go from a Wii to a Wii U, it's different engineering. It's different things in it. So I feel like you need an example.
I feel like going from the Wii to the Wii U is actually the one where I should expect it the most. I should have expected things like the fact that they had separate virtual console stores for those two is kind of where it became very clear to me that there is really no effort for this to happen, and that you could do the $1 purchase to bring it forward.
Yeah,
not bad.
I didn't see my problem with that was that library on the Wii is huge.
Sure.
Why it took so long to get some of those games over just makes no sense to me.
I just meant like the virtual console games that you could buy on the Wii virtual console.
I know what you meant.
Okay.
I know what you meant. But I look at
yes, you're right. In addition to that, yeah,
I look at the library that's on the Wii and then look at the one that's on the Wii U, and it's night and day. It's like completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they should have immediately started porting all that stuff over. Now I'm not naive, because that's basically what I'm going to say is I'm not that naive to think that it doesn't cost money to move it from one console to the next. It costs money for them to put them games on the 3DS. That's people trying to figure out how to make it, because here's the thing. It's Nintendo. They're making sure that the quality is there. Mm-hmm. They're not just throwing stuff up there and going, well, if it runs, it runs. No, they make sure it runs and looks good. I'll tell you right now, man, when we started this call, I was playing Earthbound on my 3DS. It looks gorgeous. It's when they say pixel perfect, that's what it is. It is to the T. It looks amazing. They're taking their time to emulate it right. They're not just slapping stuff on it. And I feel like that, I don't think that they should charge full price. I think you should get a discount if you've already owned it. You know, like if they're
Okay.
moving, if maybe like you say, it's $1 across the board. Like if you want it over here, it's $1. You don't have to pay the $5. We're going to do $1 because you got to pay them something to figure out the technology to make it run and run properly on all the devices. You know, the DS and the 3DS are two different devices,
Sure.
essentially.
See,
You know what I mean?
I think like not. I mean, of course, I prefer to pay less overall. I prefer if more of my money was in my pocket for the things that I purchase. If I want my value to go a little further, that I think that's completely normal. What I think is what's happening here is that Nintendo is, because they haven't had the foresight to create an ecosystem that extends beyond the sole device that you're playing on.
Mhm.
We, as the gamers, as fans, as consumers, are being somewhat held hostage to, you have to dive into this one shop and play games that are specifically from that shop for specifically that device, because Nintendo hasn't thought outside of that one device. So it doesn't really have anything to do, to me, I don't think it has anything to do with all the extra effort that it takes to have an old game work on a new device. I actually think that what this really is an illustration of the waste and the inefficiencies of the way that these stores are being created and tied down. It's like they're being like anchored down, and they're trying to get away from it, but they can't because they didn't build the device itself that way, and they didn't build the store that way.
Well,
Which is why I think like now is the time. Now, and to be fair, I have my major issues with PlayStation and the way that they handle certain things as well. Like I don't think that any one of them is perfect.
Yeah.
So I've actually, it's for another podcast, but I'm done buying.
Well, here's the thing. You know that I'm friends with Image and Form.
Yes.
And so I am privy to stuff, information at times, like before other people. It's not like I get the scoop and I have information. Like eventually they put it out there for people, but I'll normally find out about this stuff a day or two before other people. One of the things that they discussed was cross-buy. So people said like, hey, we bought this on the 3DS. Is it going to be a cross-buy for the Wii U? And they said no. And they said there are differences between the Vita and the PS4, but they're very similar. And there's not much work that had to go different to make it run on one and than the other. They said there's a lot more work that has to be done to make something run on the Wii U and the 3DS. It's two totally different systems. So with that knowledge, I think
that sort of speaks to my point. I feel like
I feel like it's difficult for them to make stuff run on everything across the board. So that's where I feel like you can't just go, hey, you're gonna buy it once and it's done forever. However, I feel like now the eShop is starting to become a better place in terms of more tied to your account, with the My Nintendo account. I feel like they are moving in that direction.
I think we're on the cusp, honestly, and I think it's all going to come in just a massive barrage of news as soon as we get to know whatever the heck the NX is.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and this, and it's tied to your account, and you get all like that. To me, I think we've talked about this as well. But there's got to be some sort of ambassador push of all the people who have been with Nintendo for all of this time, buying all this stuff. I feel like there has to be some sort of acknowledgement of all the stuff that you've purchased from them before. Yeah. So whether or not that comes forward with, and now everything that you've purchased works with whatever other device. I mean, it would be even go like, this is how far behind Nintendo is with this in this regard. It's not even the fact that if I buy a game on my Wii U, it doesn't work on my 3DS. That is, admittedly, that is a bit of a stretch, and it might be coming from sort of an entitled position, or maybe from a spoiled position with what we have with Sony. The thing that really grinds my gears is that I have 2 Wii U's in this house.
Yeah,
and my profile is tied to one of them. I actually cannot jump over to my other.
You cannot put a profile on 2 accounts. And I had that problem when Tony and I have a 3DS. So Tony, her 3DS is her name or whatever. And then what I did was I tied her profile that was on the 3DS to my Wii U. When I bought the second Wii U, I tried to tie her profile to that one. So this way her money stayed there. Nope, couldn't do it.
Yep.
It was like it said to me, "This is already tied to another," and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!"
And you got to call them, and they have to work everything. Like I bought our second when Super Mario Maker came out. We bought a second one, and we actually have 2 copies of Super Mario Maker in the house because we both wanted to go nuts and like trade games or trade levels and everything like that. And that's when it really hit home. Of I know that on Vita you can only have one profile on the Vita, so that's a weird thing too. And I have the same complaints there, but we have multiple consoles for everything. We have at least 2 360s here. We have at least 2 PlayStation 3s. We both have our own PlayStation 4s, and we each have our own Wii U's.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know how many people this affects, but
it's very small.
Even if you were to upgrade to a different model, or if yours broke and moving it to you bought a new one or a replacement, you're going through the same thing instead of just username and password, just like my Netflix account or anything else. That is what has come to be known as sort of basic functionality that we've come to expect. And that isn't really tied to hardware either. That's the thing that's really frustrating about it, is that it's a software thing. It's not built into the guts of the device. So I really can't wait for them to. Obviously, they're not investing any of the time and energy into the Wii U or the framework that makes all of that work. I really hope that when the NX comes out, it comes with a fresh Nintendo network. Everything that we're starting to see with My Nintendo just blows up.
Yeah.
So I want to see if we ran Nintendo, how would we handle the virtual console and retro games? No more of this. Like, Microsoft gets a lot of flack for the way that backwards compatibility is being handled. And I see it very similar with virtual console. You get a couple at a time, maybe 1 out of the 3 or the 4 announcements are going to be of interest to you.
But they're emulating. And that's what the thing that people got to understand. When you're emulating, it's not a just take it and drop it in. Because true backwards compatibility or things of that nature is like the Wii. The Wii has a GameCube and a Wii in it, and the Wii U has a Wii and a Wii U in it. Like, that's how true backwards compatibility works.
See, and I think there's a difference between, like, in terms of what to expect between the generation previous for backwards compatibility. And for the record, I love what Xbox is doing. I just think people's expectations are different. And I think my own expectations are different when we talk about backwards compatibility for the generation that just happened versus virtual console, which is going to retro, going all the way back, because those games aren't changing. Like that's the thing that is kind of weird to me. Is like the games that are on NES and Super Nintendo have been the same games forever and ever and ever. Yeah. And you probably have the same. Even I know this isn't official Nintendo first party stuff, but like the ZSNES or the ZSNES, do you guys call it a ZSNES emulator? Those are the same emulators. Yeah. That have been working this whole time. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. Now I know I understand I'm sounding a little spoiled, but I feel like I totally understand if the generation passed, let's get out like 5 or 6 every other week. Yeah. That's great. Regularity, just like with podcasts, like with anything else, we need to know when to expect an announcement, and that we're going to get something. Yeah. That's really the best part, and that's one of the things that makes me happy about being an Xbox player is for a while there, for the first, I don't know, probably 18 or 19 months, every single month except for January, where they're just recovering from the holiday season, they had console updates, they had firmware updates that improved your entire experience. Yeah. And it was with regularity, and so people started to like get excited about things that really weren't that exciting, but it was because it was regular. They knew that something was coming. So same thing. All
right. So listen, before we jump into what we're going to officially do, let me throw my idea out to you.
All right.
And let's see where we stand with this. So Nintendo's friends with Sega, correct?
Love where this is going. Yes.
They work together.
Yep.
So my idea is to go back. And what I would do is I would have a special team working on this, and I would release a new console. Separate from the NX, has no ties to the NX, any of that. This console, you'd be able to play the NES games, Super Nintendo games, N64 games, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis games. I would also include Game Boy games.
Yep.
Game Boy Advance games.
I have a name for this too.
We'll kick name, but that's fine. And also DS and 3DS games. There will be ports for all those in it. Okay. Yep. Now, there would also be internet connectivity built into it. If I took a cartridge, hypothetical, I took a Super Mario Brothers cart, plugged it in, right? It automatically, because I have the eShop built into it and all that stuff, it will grab it and know he owns this cartridge. Now, across the board, forever, because I have the cartridge, because it's in this system, it's logged into the eShop, I can pick it up anywhere I go. So if I go to the NX, if I go to the Wii U, if I go to the 3DS, boom, he has it, done deal, across the board. But you can also buy games from the eShop. So let's say, hypothetically, I want Kid Icarus. If I look at my shelf, and I don't own Kid Icarus, and retro games are hard to come by, and I can't find it anywhere. Well, I can buy Kid Icarus from the eShop, and then it's tied. I could download it into that console, and I hold it in that console. Same thing with Sega games across the board, because you got to work in partnership with Sega. I think you need to create the ultimate retro console, and I think that's a starting point for virtual game. How we handle the virtual console as well. But I thought about this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, they're letting so much money slip by not putting out an NES. And I thought, man, they should put out the Super Nintendo too. Like, why not just release these systems again and redo them again? And then I thought, man, why not just make an ultimate system like the Retron 5 and have it all built in? And then you've got a partnership with Sega. So pull Sega aside and go, hey, look, we want to do this retro console. We'd like to have Sega games on it. What do you think? I guarantee you Sega would jump in on this. No doubt about it, in my mind.
I'm glad you mentioned the Retron 5, because I've been biting my tongue this whole time going like, this thing sort of already exists. So I would jump in and say, yes. I'm glad. I'm glad that
I know it exists,
because everybody's screaming at you this entire time, like, dude.
I know it exists, but it doesn't have the N64 games you can't play on it, so it doesn't completely exist. And the fact of it's not owned by Nintendo. And where we take it to the next step is we have that eShop built into it. Where, like I said, if someone for whatever reason wants to buy a game that they can't pick up physically because they just can't find it someplace, or they don't want to pay $500 on eBay for it, they can actually get it here through us on the eShop. But I think that, I just think this is a step that Nintendo needs to. And if I ran Nintendo, I would sit down at a board meeting and I would go, guys, we are just letting money slip through. These Retron 5s are selling for $200-$300 a pop. It might be down now, but when they first came out, it was like $300, I think, when it first came out.
$160 for a Retron 5.
That's right now. But when it first released,
no, I know. Yeah,
when it first released, it was about $300. Mm-hmm. And I would also get it so you could put it on your new TVs. Have HDMI outputs and all that stuff built into it, which the Retron 5 has. The thing that I don't like about the Retron 5 that I think is a little, it's running off emulation. And I don't think you want to do that. You want to build it so it runs like a legit console that's like instantaneous. You put it in, you turn it on, it fires right up. There's no delay in it.
Right. And then you could also use like real Nintendo controllers as well.
Yes, yeah. And you can with the Retron 5. You can use real Nintendo controllers. Their controllers are garbage. I would never use their controllers that they have. Right. But the problem is not every single Nintendo game works on a Retron 5. There's some games that don't work on it.
So a partnership is necessary. I was going to go in the same direction. Definitely a partnership is required for this to be taken to what I think you and I are agreeing is like the level of quality that Nintendo would deem necessary for something like this.
Agreed.
I am with you.
So what I want to propose is we create this console, and with this console starts the beginning of the cross-buy stuff.
Don't call it. I would like. There's got to be another name for it other than console. It's got to be some sort of add-on.
I know that. I'm just saying. Well, we haven't named it, so I'm just saying with this particular console that's in my mind.
I was going to call it Retron 10.
No, is that really what you're going to call it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know you knew about the Retron. I'm like, dude, you're describing the Retron.
I know what the Retron 5 is. Come on. I want to call it the Nintendo Virtual Console. That's what I want to call it.
Damn.
Or actually, the ultimate Nintendo console. Something like that.
Oh, you want to bring back like the 64 kind of thing, the ultimate?
Well, that was Ultra.
Oh, Ultra, right.
I don't want to go Ultra 64, but I want to go like, something along those lines. But whatever. So you have
Game Genie.
No, come on. That's you'll never get that name. But I want to say that, okay, so let's tie it in now. So
all right,
we create this console.
Yeah.
And once this console is released, that's when we start it and we go, hey, if you own an NX and you buy Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NX, you now own that across the board for the future, everything else. It's not backwards compatible, meaning if you buy it for the NX, you're not going to get it on the Wii, you're not going to get it on the Wii U, you're not going to get it on the DS, any of that stuff.
Sure.
We're going to go from the NX forward. So when the NX starts, you have the NX, you have this new console, we'll call it the hybrid console, whatever. But you have the hybrid, you have the NX, you have the 3DS or whatever handheld they decide to do in the future. If you buy any games across the board, and that also goes for Sega games. So if you own a Sega game and you pop it in, it works across the board. If the game is available on the eShop, you buy it once and you own it for good. If you have the cartridge, meaning if I plug a cartridge in, it automatically unlocks it across the board.
That's crazy.
But
I like you're crazy.
But I think it's the way you talk to the fans. And the fans, I think, first off, I think it's the way that retro gamers accept this. And they go, I'm in, And it's a way of saying thank you to your fans that support you across the board. Your fans that have collections and games sitting on the shelf that have been sitting there for 30 years. That's the way you pay them back. So I think that's ultimately how I would handle the virtual console.
I like it. I don't know how you engineer anything like that at all.
Well,
but I would be happy if that were to happen. I just don't like because they're all it's analog, right? Like with all the old cartridges and everything. I don't know how you convert that to digital.
Yeah, they're all pretty much analog.
Like a digital recognition of like that's what this game is. Like I don't know if that is a thing that exists or not.
I'm sure there's got to be a way to figure that out. There's got to be a way to know that, like, hey, he just plugged this cartridge in.
Right.
It's there. You know what I mean? Because you could ultimately make it where there's a hard drive built into it, and you're going to have save files on it. Like the N64, those games you had a memory card, like an additional memory card, so you could save stuff on the games. Correct? Not on the games, you can save it on the memory cards. Because then the memory cards plug in underneath the controller.
Yeah, where the Rumble Pack goes.
Yes. So before Rumble Packs, it was actually memory cards, additional memory if you just want to see the game. So that
Which
way
was
you
only
can take
third party, right? Because like first party games you could save directly to the cartridge, but if you had like WCW,
I think you could do it. I think you could do it on all, but I think it was a special thing. So like if I wanted to save stuff to it, I could take it to a friend's house then and have my save stuff there as well.
Maybe.
I really don't remember all the ins and the outs.
It was like 20 years ago last week, Bobby.
But let's get realistic. Okay, so let's say that we don't do the console. I agree with what you're saying. I think that at this point, at this juncture, you've milked your Nintendo fans for all it's worth. What I would say is the way to kind of do this is say, like I said, it's not backwards compatible. From the NX forward, anything you buy, you'll own forever. Like if we put out the NX2 or whatever later on down the line, those things transfer over. We can do an upsell of $1 for the first time. I think that's the only way. You know what, though? I think that's BS, honestly. Because this is if we ran Nintendo. This isn't what Nintendo's going to do. And I think that if you own the game, I think that it's a way of thanking your fans. I think that's the way you thank the people that have been with you for years. And you just go, hey, you know what? We know that we could probably milk you guys for another 3-4 consoles, but we're not going to do that no more. It's going to be you buy it once, you own it once, and that's the end of that's the end of the story, and that's it. As long as we don't make huge, drastic turns with this equipment where we have to do a lot of stuff, and we'll be upfront with you and honest with you. We might have to charge you $1 or something when you get to 20 years down the line. But for the relative near future, this is what it's going to be. If you bought it on the handheld, you got it on the home console, and that's the way. I think that's the way it needs to be.
I agree.
I would love to see them implement the hybrid console or whatever we're calling it, because I just think about that. They're just letting money slip through their hands. Like, you know how much money they can make on old controllers? Because even the controllers, like, I was just in a retro game shop Saturday, right? Well, it's actually in a comic book shop that sells retro stuff. And I'm looking at the controllers on the wall, and it's third-party companies that are making brand new Nintendo controllers. It just doesn't say Nintendo on it.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you it's the same exact controller to the T, just doesn't say Nintendo on it. They're letting money just slip away. And it's like they would blow everybody out of the water just by putting that Nintendo on it. Like, putting that logo right on the front, right there. It doesn't even say start select on them. They don't even have that on there. It just, it doesn't even have the BA on there.
You buy the controller, and it comes with like a digital pack of 5 of your favorite games, or whatever it is. A couple, like somehow that controller can work on the NX.
Yeah, I think they should.
Let's bring back the Wii era of, like, you can use 17 different controllers on this thing.
That's the Wii U.
Here's your adapter.
When the Wii U came out, they were like,
well, they even added one more. Yeah, they added one more with the GameCube.
Yeah.
Well, you could do that on your Wii, of course.
Yeah. Well, the Wii, you just flipped the top and you had 4 slots in there for GameCube.
I like
controllers. So that's where we're at. We're at with that. So let's wrap it up. We'll put a nice little bow on it.
You're the one talking.
Phase 1 would be put the console out. The console would be – actually, that's phase 2. Phase 1 would be starting at the NX, moving forward. Anything you buy is going to be cross-buy across all platforms. You'll own that game. It'll be tied to your My Nintendo account. So as long as you have an active My Nintendo account, you got this. And and maybe the way to do it is to say, hey, do you know what? That's the answer. You pay $50 a year for this My Nintendo account. Gives you access to the internet, gives you access to all this other stuff.
It's called Nintendo Power. This was like episode 3.
Yeah, but we didn't do this though. We didn't add this. So
I think we talked about like a games with gold kind of idea.
But we didn't do this where we said if you buy a Nintendo, if you buy a virtual console game, and as long as you're an active member of Nintendo Power, we'll keep it with Nintendo Power. Then now let's do it right. If you buy a game. You buy a virtual console game and you are an active member of My Nintendo, you get to keep that game will then transfer across the board. Mm-hmm. So as long as you're an active member to My Nintendo, and you can let it lapse, we know times are tough sometimes. Maybe you can't afford it this year for a couple of months. It takes you a couple of months to get the $50 up together. You pay for it, everything goes retroactive, and you got access to all your games again. But I would say that that's the way they do it. They go, hey, you're going to pay $50 a year. That's going to allow you to, if you buy it on this, if you buy it on the Wii U, you get it on the 3DS, you get it on the DS, you get it on the Wii, you get it on. That's the way they should have done it. Mm-hmm. And that would have opened it up and people would have been like, hey, this way they feel like they're getting something for it. But at the same time, the fans don't feel like they're being ripped off. Like, yeah, I'm paying $50 a year.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done, Bobby. I'm done.
You're not done.
I am done. Nope, I'm done.
Stop. You'll be back. Okay. So, man, this is like a long episode as it is. Do we go into a second topic or do we cut it off?
No, you just keep going on and on about your crazy Retron 5 adapter.
You see, now who's hurting who? You always got to dig deep. Let's just do this. Okay, so we know that the NX is not coming out this fall. All right. When me and Sean predicted the launch, we were way off. So we're going to do some more predictions on the NX, and we're going to be way off again. But we thought it would be interesting to just say, when do you feel the NX will launch? Like, what's a date for you that you think you feel comfortable saying this is when it's going to launch? Because I'm torn. Part of me really thinks they're going to screw this up, and it's not going to be in March.
Is that screwing it up though? Like that's where I was going, but I don't see it as screwing up. I think we need to really look at this thing and when is the
listen if they push it from March to
you think that's bad?
If they push it from March to holiday 2017, which my gut scared to death is what I think they're going to do, I think they're in trouble. Well, because it does a couple of things. It goes head to head against Scorpio.
Mm-hmm. That's actually what I was going to say. This is either going to be the worst thing about Holiday 2017, or it could be the greatest thing about Holiday 2017.
They could be looking at it and going, you know what? We need to go head to head against those consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So then that way we're the cheapest on the block. And if we go in at $300, we don't look as crazy as the $600 console.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, in my heart of hearts, I feel like that. Shut up.
Drink up, folks. Drink up.
I feel like that Scorpio is a $600 box.
I agree.
Yeah. And
I 100% agree. And I think that if the NX comes out at in or around the same time as Scorpio, that is Nintendo. Like, that is Nintendo, what they do. They say, I don't care about specs. We're about fun. We're about family, whatever, all that other good sounding stuff. And they put that head to head against the thing that is completely the opposite. All we care is specs, even if it costs a premium. Those are the two completely opposite schools of thought going smash head to head, just like you did to me at the beginning of this episode. Punch me right in the face. I didn't even see it coming. I think that'd be very interesting to see.
But I think the thing is, though, is you need to get Zelda out quick. You can't make people wait
more than a year after the reveal.
Potentially 3 years from when you initially talked about it.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think.
Yeah.
And
well, it's already crazy, so who knows? Who cares?
But I also think that you want to get, like, I get that. I feel like this. I feel like you launch it in April. That's when I feel like. Because I feel like April's pretty much tax season. So people have some expendable cash going. I know the beginning of tax season is like February, March, whatever. But April is the official, like, cutoff for it. And I feel like it gives you like a good 6 to 7 months jump on Scorpio and Neo, and you can gauge how it's selling. And then if you need that bump, that's when you go head to head and you start hitting with the media blitz and going, hey, look, these guys are $600. We're $300. We're good.
Here's the thing that worries me about that, though, is that the Wii U released about 6 months before we even heard officially what the PlayStation 4 was or the Xbox One was. We started to get reveals from PlayStation. I think it was the February after the November release of the Wii U. Mm-hmm. And the thing was, I remember the environment back then was, I'm not buying a Wii U because I want to see what Sony and Xbox have in store for us. The consoles hadn't even been announced. Yeah. But we were so certain that something was coming that a large portion of people held off the Wii U. Now, this is only slightly different in the fact that we know Scorpio is a thing, and we know Neo is a thing. Whether or not that comes before or around the same time as Scorpio is a different thing. But I think that the uncertainty of a console that is about to come out, I think trying to get the jump on somebody per se is less productive and less advantageous than we might think as the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. I think there is value in going head to head of like, you got one option here, you got the other option here. We know you're making a decision right now because it's the holidays. There's no time to wait because you're buying a present for Christmas. Now's the time. Make up your mind. Are you buying the $300 Nintendo system that comes with all these retro games that when we've rebuilt the Virtual Console? Or are you spending $600 on a fancy new Xbox One?
Well, the other thing too is, man, you have the ability to go. Like, man, I feel like too they need to hit them hard when they come out with the publicity and the PR.
Crazy value too.
Well, I would just go, hey, guy, like I would do a commercial where I'm just like, hey, guys, do you really want to spend $600 on a console you already have connected to your TV when you can spend $300 and have that same console hooked and our console, and you get all this cool stuff that's coming out, the new Zelda, the new Mario, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And people are going to go, and they kind of got a point. Do I want to spend $600 on it just for a couple teraflops? What is a teraflop? You know,
it's funny when you think about it too. Like, think about the consumer electronics environment that we find ourselves in right now, where it's very similar to when the Wii came out and killed everything. Where 360, PlayStation 3 are saying high definition, which is hilarious because we weren't really caring about 1080p until this generation. But anyway, everybody was high definition, but not everybody had high definition TVs. Many of us still had the old style TVs. Widescreen even was a weird thing for us. Blu-ray players were $1,200, at least here in Canada. I mean, like, that's why PlayStation 3 was such a good value, because it was a $700 Blu-ray player, and that was deemed really great. So here we are now. We all have high definition TVs, very similar to how we used to have the old style TVs, the standard definition.
Mm-hmm.
This next generation, or the next mid-generation of Sony and Xbox, are pushing 4K.
Yes.
None of us are really sure if we want 4K. Nintendo comes in and says, we know you don't really care about 4K. Here's a great value new console. It's got all this different stuff. It's a high definition console for what you really care about. So I think that that's really going to put a stamp on what everybody is really worried about with these new consoles. Is this worth it to upgrade if the only benefit is 4K and more pixels than my TV can display? So that's another nice little value proposition that Nintendo can attach to the NX, which also means maybe getting the jump is even more important before 4K actually does become a thing. I feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
But people aren't buying TVs at the rates that they were buying.
Well, and I think too, you need to have that NX capable of going to 4K if you have to, even if it's an add-on. You know what I mean? Like, where obviously you can hook it to a 4K TV, but you need to be able to push the output to be 4K, and that's where I might say, like, hey, here's $100 add-on, but whatever. That's different.
I would love to see Nintendo be the one when you're looking at graphical comparisons and it's like Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and whatever the NX is. I would love it if the NX was the one that looks amazing, if that was the winner every time. Because I think there's great value in that as well. There's a lot of people who care deeply about that, but it's not going to happen.
No.
It's definitely not going to happen, especially with this mid-generation console happening right now. So with that in mind, I think just kick it with the 1080p, make sure everything runs at 60 frames per second or whatever the kids are loving these days. And that, like, I think this is a real opportunity for Nintendo. Because I think it's going to be polarizing, the 4K versus 1080p.
All right, we're getting way off topic.
You know what? I listen to you go on and on. But that's fine. You can reel it in.
No. This is different. We gotta rein it in, because the topic isn't are we going 4K and all that stuff. That's for another time. The idea is, what is a legitimate release date? Because I think people are scared right now.
I've already made up my mind. Go up against Scorpio.
I think that if you delay Zelda, people are going to freak out, man.
Maybe this is where Justin Massen's master plan comes into play too. Maybe it's
possible, but they have said that this is going to be a launch title for the NX.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I even as I said, I'm like, I didn't like that plan. Sorry, John.
And I just don't see them launching it on the Wii U before the NX. I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think because of the whole with spoilers and the way, like, you look at all the care they took to not spoil it at E3.
Mm-hmm.
They
took all parts of the game.
Yeah, I cannot see them going, okay, here you go. We know that this is a system seller for the NX. Reggie came out and said it last week. The Zelda U, or not Zelda U, but Breath of the Wild is a system seller for the NX.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to turn around and put that game out 6 months early on the Wii U. That is murder. It's suicide.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it back into Zelda, because I think that really is the X factor here. I think that is something that could allow Nintendo to just put out the system whenever the hell they want, whether it's completely against all logic. If you throw it in, I don't know, the second week of February, put it out on Valentine's Day so that we can have a true heart of hearts conversation. Put it out in February, and if it's Zelda, it will sell.
I think honestly, I think they're going to hit in April. That's my gut says they're going to kick it in April, because they want to be there. Like, either it's going to be.
I'm just worried about that looming. Like, what if the Xbox is great? Like, what? Like, people have held off in the past.
I don't think it's. I don't know. But I think it's a different ballgame this time. Sure. And the why I say that again is, you have that console already. Sean, you have an Xbox One in your house right now.
Yeah, but I'm buying a Scorpio, and I'm buying a Neo.
but listen to me. But the thing is that if that Scorpio is $600, you might not buy it day one. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you. I would have never bought a PS3 if it didn't drop to $300.
Sure.
When they first launched, I said, "You're out of your effing mind. I am not buying this thing." And I didn't. I went and bought a Wii U, and that was it. And the crazy thing is we spent $500 on a Wii U. So, because you couldn't get them. Tony actually bought it for me for Christmas off the internet, off of eBay. And she
On the
paid
Wii
$500.
U? You couldn't
I
find
mean,
one?
a Wii.
Oh,
Wii.
yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
a Wii.
yeah.
A Wii.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Wii U. I meant Wii. See the problem with the name? Like,
I know.
you
It's so
always
dumb.
get it confused. It's so stupid.
Mhm.
But so for me, I looked at when so I think that if they come back at $600, and really it's not. I mean, yes, it's a huge upgrade, but it's not. I can still play all the same games I'm getting. Like I said this on the Geekcast one day. If I said to you, we're going to launch 3 consoles the same exact day, and it's going to be the NX, it's going to be the Neo, and it's going to be the Scorpio. They're all going to launch the same exact day. Which one? And Neo and Scorpio are $600, and NX is $300. Which one are you buying? You can only buy one. Which one are you buying?
The iPad. Wait.
You know what?
You know, I would say, of course, the NX.
Well,
of
everybody,
course.
nine people out of 10 are going to say the NX. Why? Because it's the only one that's offering something new and different compared to the other two.
Mhm.
The other two are just basically half steps because they have to get more horsepower for VR. If you're not going to have VR, you don't have to have a Neo and a Scorpio day one. That's my opinion. So for me, I look at it and go, the NX is the one that's offering the difference. So I would wholeheartedly say, come out the last week of March, first week of April. That's where it needs to be, in my mind. You hit it then, you come out, you have expendable cash in the United States at that time because that's tax season. And because I'll tell you right now, if that thing launches then, I will have already pre-ordered 2 of them for 2 NXs.
Mhm.
And when the tax money comes in, I'll take the money for the 2 and set it aside and pay it when it comes. Done. I mean, I'm already saving money as it is. That's not even the point. But
Definitely. Yeah, me too. The other interesting thing about March is there's at least 31 birthdays that will be celebrated that month. Isn't that neat? See how that works?
why?
I wonder about this March thing because it seems
Justin, I'm so sorry. Justin, please come.
I know you could have had him.
So
You could have had him, but you got me said. You got a 9th rate Canadian here. You could have had the top 2 guys. They got the big show and they got the artwork.
Stop. We got artwork too, and we did it, and I did it myself. I didn't have to whore myself out to somebody else to get it done.
just to Gary grade animate stuff for us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy.
Okay. So, what do you think? So, but you're saying
Let's do it. You know what? The thing that I wasn't considering when I was saying put it up against Scorpio, I still think that might not be the worst idea because it sounds when you first say no, that sounds terrible. I think there's some value to it, but Zelda is crazy. People went absolutely nuts for it. It's breaking records about social media and all these other things. People are definitely wanting Zelda, so it could lead me to sort of break traditional thinking about when is a decent time to release a console, given all the other things to consider. Zelda could be the thing, like I said, you just release it whenever the heck you want. So let's do whatever you want.
If you
31 birthdays in March, it sounds good to me.
But I look at it like this though too. Real quick, I'll wrap it up after this point. When they moved Zelda from holiday 2016 to March 2017, I feel like they lost a lot of momentum, and I feel like people got pissed. And granted, after E3, they pulled them all back in. But that was with the thing of okay, I only got to wait 6 more months than I originally had to wait. I can do that. But if they turn around and go in September, when they do their talk and they start to explain, this is what it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. If they go, oh, by the way, it's not going to launch until holiday 2017, which is more than a year from when you're making the announcement, I think they lose their momentum. I think people turn on them, and I think it's going to be very hard to come back. You're going to lose a lot of people if you do that. And I think you need to hit that March, April time frame. That's just my feeling. I feel
No,
like
I think you're right. I think especially when you bring up when are we going to learn more about it? It's going to be fall. We've heard that.
yeah,
What's the timing based around that? You're right. It can't be more than a year
because if you turn around and you
or
delay
even a
Zelda,
year.
yeah, if you delay Zelda for another year, woo.
Yeah.
People
You have to be
are-
within 6 months of
Yeah.
this is what it is. In
Yeah.
6 months, you can buy one.
Yeah, they could potentially go now. They could go. We're going to launch it in May, and that's a month, 2 months later than the March. And I don't think you'll upset people too much. But if they go a whole another 6 months, 9 months, or whatever until holiday, I think they lose a lot of people.
Sure.
That's my feeling. So, all right, so we'll go with that. If we
All
ran
right.
Nintendo, it would be the last week of March, first week of April. Now,
First day of spring.
if you're a betting person, go to Las Vegas now and bet against that because that will not be the time. We're absolutely wrong. We proved it wrong when we gave the whole breakdown of when we launched the NX. We looked like idiots. Not even a week later. So odds are you're probably going to get an announcement this week, next week of when they're going to announce the NX, and then that'll be the beginning of the end for Sean and I. Because last time we did this, we look like fools.
We look like idiots, but we look good.
This is true. Well, you look good. I look okay.
You look good.
I look like
50
miles of bad road. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Watching us on YouTube. We appreciate it all, everything you do. One thing I did not talk about. Man, I am so stupid. If you've stuck around this long, I apologize for this. The results of the poll that I ran. I ran that poll on Twitter.
You ran a poll.
I ran a poll.
That sounds dirty. Doesn't it sound dirty? Josh, what do you think? Josh Stapleton, let me know. Did that sound dirty to you?
I ran a poll.
Okay.
Like a poll, POLL.
Oh, where people submit a response.
Yes, where people vote. So it was the question I ran on Twitter at Nintendo Gurus. If Sean Capri and I held a Nintendo game night with the community, what game would you want to play? Now, I put up Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Runbow, Smash. Smash was overwhelmingly the winner. I knew it the minute I typed Smash out. Smash got 42%. Mario Kart 8 got 26%. Splatoon got 25%. And Runbow got 7%. Now, my feeling is what I'll do is, and you know what, by the way, thank you to everybody that voted. Had 152 votes on this thing.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
That was awesome. So thank you to everybody that took the time to vote on this thing.
Andrew Huey, Joey Ferris, Matt7742. Who else we got here? Gun to Chris voted. What's up? Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love this.
Yeah. A lot of people voted. I appreciate it. Means the world to me.
At Sean Capri voted. What's up, at Sean Capri?
What did Sean Capri vote for?
I don't remember. I think Rumbo might have been my vote.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is this, and I'll talk it over with Sean. We'll figure it out. But I'm thinking what we do is we'll probably just host a Smash tournament. I don't know that I'll even play in it because I'm not very good at Smash. I might jump in.
What are you talking about?
I might jump in and play a little bit, get beat up, and let the community beat me up and all that stuff. But I think what I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to host a Mario Kart 8 tournament. And we'll run it for...
Screw the poll. We're running our own tournament.
No. I mean, well, Mario Kart 8 came in second, and it was a high, it was up there. What I'll do is I'll run the Smash tournament because Smash won, and that's fine. But I also want to run a Mario Kart 8 tournament. And what I'm thinking is that we will... we'll do some. I'm going to figure it out how I'm going to actually do it. I might run it for a day or two. But I think I'm going to give a prize to somebody, whoever wins. So that'll entice people to play as well. I just got to figure out exactly how it's going to be. So we appreciate the votes. We're going to take into consideration. We're going to look at things and we're going to move forward with it. But thank you all that voted for it. So I didn't do it just to do it as a goof to be like, ha, 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 let's see who votes. I did it because me and Sean have been talking about a game night with the community for a while. And I felt like, hey, you know what? Let's let people know we're thinking about this and kind of get it going. And we love you guys for listening to us and following us and all that stuff. And so, yeah, that would be awesome if you guys would just stick with us for a little bit and when we get it all together, we get it figured out. We'll come at you and let you know what we're going to do. So I'm kind of excited that we got that many.
We'll have to do
people
some sort of Google Hangout so we can actually voice chat with each other.
That'll be hard. That's a lot of people.
You make it happen.
152 people can't happen. Just saying. You
You gotta believe.
You can only have 10 people on Google Hangout at a time.
How many?
10.
You know what? If 10 people show up to game night, I'll be ecstatic. That'd be amazing.
I would tell you right now that we will have more than 10 people show up to game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have faith in the community that we can get more than 10.
I have a recurring nightmare. I'll just tell you about this. I have a recurring nightmare where I throw a party and nobody shows up. I have that nightmare every single night.
No,
It's awful.
That's not true. Listen, we've done Mario Kart nights before, and we did one with the Geek Guru Facebook group, and literally we had two rooms going at the same time.
Awesome.
So many people showing up.
I don't know why we haven't done it yet. That sounds incredible.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually record footage from it, and I'm going to put a video together and we'll post it and stuff.
I would like to do that on my birthday, which is coming up in a month.
Okay.
Mario Kart tournament around the world.
Okay. We'll do something. So you can follow Sean at
Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants.
There we go. You got it back.
I'm here.
Stella got his groove back. And you can follow me.
I'm like the Emperor. Wait, he lost his groove.
Stella got her groove back. You never heard that?
But what about the Emperor?
I'm not worried about the Emperor.
The Disney movie. Come on, that movie's amazing. Please. My face.
Can I give my Twitter handle, please? Thank you. You can follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Cub Scout.
AB, see you later. Bobby.
Sean. Okay, thank you.
You're a mess.
You're a mess.
Your
face is a mess.
Your face is a mess. Let's kick it off with the Bobby and the show about Nintendo and running it.
You know that's going to be the start of the show, right?
I'm totally fine with it. I realized it like halfway through. I'm like, damn it, I have to wrap this up. I have to put a little bow on this.
Oh, it is.
For real. Hi, guys. I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah. It's so
Griffin and Bobby's like, you're live.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
We'll see.
I forgot to do my warm-ups. Like, what was it? The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Or the arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
What are you talking about?
You see, for people my age, we know this is a movie reference. For no, we're already started.
No, we're not. I haven't started yet.
If you are embarrassing me by putting whatever that was at the beginning of the show, I will explain to you that was from Anchorman, and anybody else who's laughing at that is laughing at you for not knowing about it. Now,
these parts aren't going to be in the show, so
you don't appreciate that. You don't appreciate that.
Just let me get started, would you? What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode